A British defense firm just flew its new 1,000-kilometer range strike drone for the first time, and it was built using Formula One technology. Ukraine may be the next in line to receive it. Let's talk about why that matters. You already know the pattern by now. A UK company develops something fast, flexible, and lethal. Ukraine watches closely. A deal gets floated, and then quietly, Ukrainian operators are putting it to work somewhere between Zaporizhia and Crimea. Today's entry in that very reliable genre is the TigerShark. And this one has got a genuinely weird origin story because the man behind it spent most of his career making cars go fast in circles. Hey friends, Wes O'Donnell here, multi-branch veteran and still at the Brits for what they did to the White House in 1814. How uncivilized.
So uncivilized.
I'm kidding. Water under the bridge. I can't stay mad at you stuffy bastards. Actually, I thought I hated Putin, but the Brits really have it out for him. So what are we talking about today? Well, MGI Engineering is a UK defense firm led by Mike Gascoigne. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Gascoigne was a Formula One technical director. He worked for Tyrrell, Bennington, Jordan, and Toyota, spending decades shaving milliseconds off lap times by obsessing over lightweight composites, rapid iteration, and extreme performance per gram engineering. Then he pivoted to building cruise missiles, which is honestly a pretty logical career arc if you think about it. Both involve maximizing speed, minimizing weight, and winning before the other guy figures out what hit him. The Formula One philosophy shows up directly in how TigerShark was designed. Lightweight composite structures, agile and iterative development, rapid prototyping, and a manufacturing model explicitly built for high-volume, low-cost production. These are not buzzwords. In motorsport, they're survival. You can't spend 2 years perfecting a design when the rules change every season. Gascoigne brought that urgency to a weapons program, and in 2025, that's exactly the kind of urgency the market is asking for. So, what is TigerShark actually capable of? Well, let's run the numbers because they're worth paying attention to. Range, just over 1,000 kilometers. That puts it firmly in the strategic strike category. This is a weapon you use to reach things that are supposed to be safe. Speed, up to 750 kilometers per hour. That's subsonic, but not slow. It's fast enough to complicate interception and fast enough to shrink the warning window for whoever's on the receiving end. Probably Russia. Warhead, up to 300 kilograms. That's substantial. For comparison, the Storm Shadow cruise missile, which Ukraine has used to devastating effect, carries a warhead in similar class. TigerShark isn't in that tier of sophistication, but it's competing on payload weight at a fraction of the price. And the price is where this gets interesting. MGI Engineering has indicated a unit cost of approximately $549,000. Those are US dollars, not UK fun bucks or whatever you use. I'm kidding, I know you use pounds. Modern compact cruise missiles in a comparable class like the Barracuda sit in roughly the same price range but deliver less range and a significantly smaller warhead. Less boom for your buck. You're getting more destructive capacity per dollar with TigerShark. In a war that's being fought on production economics as much as it is tactics, that math matters. The flight controller is Auterion Skynode N. If that company rings a bell, it should. Auterion's Skynode S, an AI-based machine vision system, is already being used by Ukrainian forces in the field. These are not strangers to the Ukrainian military ecosystem. Now, the Formula One angle isn't just a marketing hook. The deeper point is about development speed. Traditional defense procurement moves on a timeline that would make an F1 team laugh. You design, you test, you wait for approval, you test again, someone changes the requirements, you put it in for approval again, and now 14 years later, you finally get the green light. Or 14 years later, they tell you to start over. Meanwhile, the threat environment has evolved 3 times. Well, what Gascoigne is applying is a different philosophy. Design fast, iterate constantly, and treat each production run as a learning loop rather than a final answer. That approach has shown up in unexpected places before. South Africa's Pookie mine-resistant vehicles in the 1970s famously used secondhand Formula One racing tires because they distributed blast pressure more effectively than anything the military had on hand. The CV-90 infantry fighting vehicle borrowed Formula One's active damping system. Motorsport has a history of bleeding into military applications. When someone with the right background is paying attention, Gascoigne is paying attention. And the result is a first flight milestone that MGI is calling the first successful test of a new system of this class in Europe in over a decade. Now that's either a bold marketing claim or a genuine statement about how stagnant European strike drone development has been lately. Probably both. But here's where the speculation gets grounded. MGI Engineering previously announced plans to supply Ukraine with its smaller strike system, the TigerShark. That's a mid-range platform with a 250-kilometer reach, a 20-kilogram payload, and dual miniature jet engines. As of now, it's unclear whether TigerShark deliveries have actually happened, but the intent was stated publicly, and MGI expressed readiness for local production within Ukraine. That last part is key. Readiness for localization isn't a throwaway phrase. It signals that MGI is already thinking about building inside Ukraine's defense industrial base, not just exporting from the UK. That's the build with Ukraine model Kyiv has been pushing hard, and it's exactly the kind of arrangement that survives political headwinds better than a foreign weapons contract. But here's the thing, do you want the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
If TigerShark deliveries follow through, TigerShark becomes the natural escalation. Companies with active combat relationships tend to expand them, especially when they have a product that benefits from live testing. And Ukraine is the best proving ground on the planet right now. So let's zoom out and think about what a 1,000-kilometer range strike drone in Ukrainian hands would actually change. Right now, Ukraine's deep strike arsenal is limited. Storm Shadow and Scout missiles have the range and the punch, but Western governments have been careful about how many they release and what targeting restrictions apply. Every long-range strike is a diplomatic negotiation as much as it is a military decision. A domestically integrated, lower-cost alternative changes that calculus. At $549,000 per unit, TigerShark is expensive relative to a cheap FPV drone, but it's cheap relative to the infrastructure it can threaten. Refineries, rail hubs, command nodes, and air defense installations deep inside Russian-held territory. The cost exchange is favorable. More importantly, it gives Ukraine a strike option that isn't wholly dependent on British or French stockpiles. The strategic value of that autonomy is hard to overstate in a war where the political will of Western partners has repeatedly been the limiting factor. So where does this leave us? Well, TigerShark completed the first flight. The company behind it has an existing Ukrainian relationship through Autirion's technology and the TigerShark program. The platform specs are genuinely competitive at its price point, and MGI has already signaled interest in localized production. The dots are not hard to connect. Whether Ukraine receives TigerShark depends on UK export approvals, production timelines, and how quickly MGI can scale past the first flight milestone. Now, none of those are trivial hurdles, but the trajectory is there. Ukraine keeps extending its reach, the weapons keep getting more capable, and the companies building them keep moving faster than the procurement bureaucrats can keep up with. For Russia, that trend line is not improving, which is probably why Putin wants to end this war pretty soon. Alright folks, that's where we'll leave it. If you want to help support what I'm building here, you can join the channel as a member for about $3 a month. It's a small thing on your end, but it makes a real difference on mine and helps keep the channel independent and prevents me from having to resort to sponsored segments because you get hit with enough ads as it is already. So if not, no worries at all. Just make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you're looking for more in-depth analysis, stuff that goes a little deeper than what I can fit into a video, I'm over on Substack. I'll put that QR code up on the screen right here. Just scan it and you'll land right there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.